All right. I wanted to look at 5.4 worksheet because I did think that this stuff's a little more difficult maybe than some of the other things we've done. So I thought I'd make a little video, hopefully help you out, and show you some of the different types of questions you can see in this section, from this section, that require you to factor. So the first one I want to look at was 6, then 12, then 14, then 22. So looking at number 6, the first thing you see is that there's a greatest common factor, which this is always the first thing you want to do. So you want to take out the greatest common factor, and you look at the 40 and the 625, and out of these two terms, the biggest thing that will come out is 5. When you take a 5 out, essentially what you do is you divide it out. When you divide 40 by 5, you get 8. When you divide 625 by 5, you get 125. And there's nothing that can come out of the v cubed, so that's just going to stay. And what I recognize right now is that it's the difference of cubes. So I rewrite the cubes so that I can do the difference of cubes factoring method. So I'm going to take this, and I see 8v to the third. That's the same as saying 2v parentheses to the third. And if you check it, 2 to the third is 8, v to the third is v to the third, so that's what it's going to be. And then 125 is the same as 5 to the third. I like to rewrite it like that because then when I look at my difference of cubes form that we use when we factor the difference of cubes, it's much easier. Because you can see that right here, that's going to be your first parenthesis, and then the rest of it is just the same thing every time. So the 5 is going to stay. My first parenthesis, like I just said, is going to be 2v minus 5. Okay? And now you got 3 things that go into the second parenthesis. Like it's going to be, first thing is going to be 2v to the second. The next thing is going to be the multiplication of both terms with the opposite sign, which is going to be 10v. And just to show you that, so you're not confused about what I just did, I just took 5 times 2v. And then last term is there's going to be 5 squared, or 25. So I'll just show you the 5 squared. But essentially, it's always the same time, always the same thing. 2v gets put here squared. You got 5 times 2v, that goes right here. And then you got 5 to the second, which goes right there. Okay, so to finish it off, to make it look pretty, we're going to rewrite it again. 2v minus 5, you're going to get 4v to the second plus 10v plus 25. All right, so that was number 6. Moving on, number 12. Automatically, when you see 12, you should think 4 terms. I'm going to group 2 and 2 together. All right, so what this involves is you're going to group the first 2, and I always like to group the negative inside. Okay, I'm mindful of the negative in the middle. It's gonna affect the way I can do this problem. But essentially, when you do that, you want to take out the GCF out of both sets of parentheses. So out of here, 9m to the third and 18m squared have a GCF of 9m squared. Okay, when you take that out, essentially what you're doing is dividing each term by that. So I get m plus 2. Okay, you should get the exact same thing here as you're going to get in there. And if you don't, something went wrong. So let's just see if we do. So in this, out of these two, if I take out a negative 4, then I do get exactly the same thing. I get an m plus 2. So now you go to your next step, which is to take out the m plus 2. So what's left here? I get m plus 2. I get 9m squared minus 4. But actually, I'm not done. I need to keep going because I see right here, I got the difference of 2 squares again. So you got to make sure that after you've done everything, that you're not leaving it like this, because there is one more step, which is to factor the difference of squares. The m plus 2 is done. It factors down into 3m plus 2 and 3m minus 2. It's because 3m to the second is 9m squared, and 2 to the second is 4. So I can factor this all the way like that. Okay, hopefully that helps you with 12. The next one I wanted to look at was 14. We didn't look at anything exactly like this. So first thing I do is I recognize that this is difference of 2 squares. Okay, so you say what times itself equals c to the 4th? In this case, it would be c squared. And then you say what times itself equals 81? In that case, it'll be 9. Okay, and difference of squares says plus minus. Once again, at this point, you keep factoring and keep doing MAF until everything is done. So I have right here again the difference of 2 squares. This c squared plus 9, that's done. I can't factor that anymore because it's a plus. But the c squared minus 9 can be factored again. So I'm going to leave the c squared plus 9, and I'm going to factor c squared minus 9. So it's going to be c plus 3, c minus 3, and actually at this point There's nothing else you can do to this problem, so you are done. So that was 14. Again, a little bit more work after you just do difference of two squares. So there's multiple steps involved, stuff that maybe we haven't seen before. All right, last one. Another factor by grouping. Automatic, you should see, I see 4 terms. Automatic in my head, I'm thinking group. So I group 2 and 2 together. All right, and then you look at each set of parentheses separately and you take out the GCF. So out of the first set, your greatest common factor is 2b to the third. Okay, you take that out of both by dividing it out. What's left here? 2's cancel, you get b. What's left here? You get 7, and then the b to the third's cancel, so it's b plus 7. Now already, I know that whatever I get in these parentheses should be the same as this, otherwise I did something wrong. So I look at this negative 16b and the negative 112, and I say, well, I could take a negative 16 out. Okay, very easily. So negative 16 and a negative 112. If I take a negative 16 out, I do get b plus 7. I get the same thing. All right, so now, again, it's a factor by grouping, and the last step of this process is to take out the new GCF, which in this case is the b plus 7. All right, and now you're looking at this like, I'm done. Well, you're not done, because you got b plus 7 is done, but this is kind of far from done, actually. This is a little bit of a difficult question, so I do need to make sure that I keep going. Let me erase that. Keep going till everything is completely factored. Well, this part here, I'm going to factor this separately. I'm going to leave the b plus 7 here. And right here, you're like, that doesn't look like the difference of cubes. But if you take a 2 out, which you can do, you can take a 2 out, it becomes b cubed minus 8. And that actually is the difference of cubes. So this 2, you can pull it out wherever. It doesn't have anything to do with the problem. And now I'm going to factor the difference of cubes. So I'm going to rewrite this in parentheses cubed. And I'm going to keep going until I factor that difference of cubes. So now, once again, the first parenthesis is already written for me, if I do it that way. And then my second parenthesis, I'm just working here now, again. I'm just factoring the difference of cubes. Again, I haven't really touched anything over here since the first side. So I'm just kind of working just so you can see what I'm doing. So b minus 2 right here. And then I'm going to do b squared. Opposite of that sign is plus. Multiply the 2 together, 2b, and then it's going to be plus 4. So altogether, my final answer should look like that. All right, so I hope that helps. Watch the video again, look at it, watch it a couple times. If you still got questions, it's probably going to happen. So make sure you guys are asking those questions and coming in and utilizing the times that are available for help. All these answers and everything will be on my website, so hopefully this helps you.